Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos, doggone it. My name is John Boy. I'm your host, John Francis Fahey. Joining me, as ever, is Weenie Todd, the seaman robber of Skeet Street, Aaron Joseph Pita.
Oh, my God.
Weenie Todd. Weenie Todd. I don't mean to call it Weenie.
It's okay.
But the seaman robber of Skeet Street is pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Gimme. They will pinch your semen.
And across from you is the Mountie.
The Mountie?
Yeah.
Oh, the Canadian?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Mountie.
Oh,
Real
no.
good, yeah.
Yes.
And Mount E, like one who is mounted.
One who is mounted.
One who was mounted.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah.
You like this shit?
Yeah.
I've been working on these today, folks.
Pretty good.
Oh, wow.
Matt Brousseau.
Hi.
Matt Brousseau, handsome
Hello.
Matt.
Hello.
What's up, fellas?
Hey.
He's ready.
Guys, we had a great time on the Patreon last time.
Did.
We certainly did.
We gave them their $5 worth.
Yeah.
You
Or even their 70.
You fucking better believe it, pal.
Mm-hmm.
It was a real good time. What did we talk about? We talked about
A lot of movies.
A lot of
a
movies.
lot of films.
The Oscar race.
Yes. Yes.
We talked about a lot of. It was a potpourri, and then it just. Then we just started getting to Israel Palestine.
Yeah.
You know, it's what you sign up for.
Hey, you know, it is what it is. An extra episode per week over there. Check it out. You know, you never know. The week before that, we talked about dick size the world over.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And most searched porn terms and stuff like that.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Love the pornos.
Mm-hmm.
AVN's going on now, I
Really?
believe.
Yes,
Oh, maybe it
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
They still do it in Vegas?
Yep.
But now what do they do it at the fucking Buffalo Wild Wings?
I think
They
they go
do it
over
at Buffalo Gold.
They do?
They do it in that big globe they got.
Yeah, the
I don't
Sphere.
think they can fucking afford that, dude.
It'd
Well,
be
the Sphere,
amazing
the
if
Sphere
they did.
is already bankrupt. They'll take anything at this
That's
point.
true. They
Yeah.
spent so much money on that thing
Yeah.
just to put like a smiley face winking at
Yeah.
planes flying over.
Yeah. They have a fucking HVAC convention in that fucking thing at
Oh
this
my
point.
God, yeah.
God.
They would love that.
Aliens.
Yeah.
Not what it used to be.
The HVAC people going, I could do the
HVACs.
AC in this place. Gentlemen, we're in for a treat here. Aaron, you want to talk about
Wait, first, though.
Oh, yes, first we have to say our fan
Sorry, Aaron.
our friend Dallas has a show.
Yeah. It's Comfort Creatures. The opening reception is January 27th,
Oh,
but it runs
wonderful.
until February 11th at the 500X Gallery in Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And it's all about JFK. No, it's
Yeah, you already said it was about comfort creatures.
Ew.
What the hell is that?
Sign me up.
Yeah, I'll be there.
It's a series of drawing, paintings, and soft sculptures created by Dallas, and he's done our great animated shorts.
Yes.
Would love to get some more of those, buddy.
So if you're
Yeah.
in the area, check him out.
Yeah.
500X
Furthering
Gallery.
his own career.
I know.
Crazy.
Instead of
Animating us talking about dicks.
Yeah. What a guy. We love you, Dallas. Please check out Dallas's show if you are in the area.
If you're not, buy a plane ticket.
Get over there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Aaron, you want to talk about the Nazis because you think they have a lot of good ideas or
Jesus
something.
Christ. Tough start.
He does it to me all the
Oh,
time.
yeah, I know.
That's true. Yeah, there's this was, I think you maybe first mentioned this fellow.
Yes, in the Tito.
In the Josep Tito episode. And then I was talking to my brother, and he was like, oh, you should do that guy.
Yeah.
And he helped me a little bit out with the research on it. Give me a couple of points. Yeah, this is one Otto Skorzeny,
Yes.
a.k.a. the most dangerous man in Europe, a.k.a. Hitler's bodyguard, a.k.a. a bunch of other stuff.
I mean, do you really want the most dangerous man as your bodyguard when you want the safest man?
True.
I don't know. I want
Okay,
a
well,
stone cold killer, man.
I'm here to learn.
I'm just asking questions.
So Otto Skorzeny was born in Vienna, Austria,
Uh-oh.
on June 12th, 1908. Skorzeny, if you do a little bit of research on the name, turns out his family may have been of Polish lineage.
Mm-hmm.
and it may have been Germanicized into Skorzeny or some pronunciation.
Skorniachki.
Sure. Growing up, he had an aptitude for languages and math. Thought the humanities were for pussies.
Oh God.
And his dad was a like a worker guy, tough,
Tough son of a bitch.
tough man, businessman.
Mm-hmm.
He got into studying engineering. Went to one of those colleges out there and got into what we all are now recognize as the rite of passage for many a Nazi, which was fencing.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
right.
He
A
did-
gentleman's game.
Yeah, 15 of those saber duels as a young man.
Wow.
He received the telltale scar across the cheek,
Mm.
which would just really complete the
Yeah, it does. It does the look.
Yeah.
Eye patch is better, but if you can't get that,
yeah,
get a scar.
You can take an eye patch off,
Yeah.
but the scar is there.
Yeah.
Are the thoughts and actions evil? Sure, but does he look evil?
Yeah, because you can hide.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't just sit there, stroking a cat.
Yeah.
Um,
Only one man can.
so after graduating, or while he was in school, he joined this student organization, which was basically a proto-Nazi
Yeah.
far-right organization. 31, he joined the Austrian Nazi Party.
Oh boy.
Was a strong, but before then he was a strong advocate of union with Germany.
Yes.
Thought that it would make them both stronger. I guess Germany definitely needed allies after World War I because they were fucking bankrupt.
Yeah.
Basically joined the SA Brown Shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Worked as a civil engineer, just having a normal life, and then at night being a part of this political far-right organization. Then he was a supporter of the Anschluss, the basically the annexation of Austria into the Reich in 1938. He applied at 31, the age of 31. He applied to join the Luftwaffe, but they told him he was too old and too tall because this dude was like 6'4", 200-something pounds.
Yeah, you don't want him up.
He's a big dude. And
His feet would be dangling underneath the plane.
oh yeah, you'd have to stop it and take off like Fred fucking Flintstone.
Yeah, exactly.
So they said you're too old and you're too tall, but we like your moxie. So he was assigned as an officer cadet in the Leibstandarte SS, which is Hitler's bodyguard regiment.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Good place for a tall guy.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
get behind me, Mein Führer.
Yeah.
He was then joined as an artillery officer during the Western Offensive. Got into not the regular SS, but the Waffen SS, which was the military arm of the SS.
Okay.
There's so many different divisions in the Wehrmacht that you can't keep track of them.
Oh, they kept track of him.
They did
That's
great paperwork. They were
yeah.
really good at that. They
Mhm.
did have a lot of good ideas in terms of paperwork.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh, he's doing it himself now.
I feel like they just like having to like make cool new insignias.
Yeah,
Yeah, a
they
lot of those
definitely had somebody-
insignias were all like Germanic runes.
Yeah.
Like the SS logo is not an SS. So the SS stands for like Schustaffel. I think that's what it stands for. But the logo itself is 2 lightning bolts, Germanic rune lightning
Oh,
bolts.
okay.
The swastika is a Hindu symbol, which they inverted.
Yes.
Then they all I think they had the skull on their hats and shit like
Yeah.
that. A lot of, in terms of like really menacing imagery,
Mhm.
like they nailed it.
Yeah, and actions too,
Yeah, no,
and faces.
one of the top.
Yeah.
But they really got that down.
Yeah. Definitely the scary stuff, but also like doesn't a child see that guy walking around with a skull on his head and think like, oh, this guy's
I want to be
cool?
that guy.
Well, who knows what the fairy tales they were reading growing up? They might have been awful.
Yeah,
horrific
Hansel and
things.
Gretel's a
Yeah.
fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe a skull's a pretty good time.
Yeah, dude. If you believe that like magic symbols work, like there's no other. Like, yeah. Oh shit,
Yeah.
it does work.
That is a wild sort of dichotomy there too, right? It's like you have this thing of the trains running on time and just orderliness and extensive documentation, but at the center of it, a belief,
weird occult shit.
Yeah.
yeah. Like it's very, very odd.
Yeah, and for being so anti-homosexuality and any sort of unorthodox, we'll call it, lifestyle to them, they were all doing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a, like any fascist regime, full of hypocrisy.
Yeah. Well, they're allowed to do it because they're.
We know we're not gay.
They're powerful. They're allowed to do that.
The
they're
rest
the,
of
they're
people,
the group
they
that
can't
gets to
handle
do
the
that.
gay. We
Yeah.
can handle the gay. This dark
Yeah.
forces we're fucking with here. Butt fucking a guy. This is
Yeah.
powerful shit.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody.
Right.
Well,
No.
yeah. You don't want the fucking average slob out there doing
No,
it.
they're all
No.
nasty.
No.
Yeah.
They would make
fuck
it
it up.
sexy.
Yeah. But I mean, you could say the same thing about the British royal family, and
Oh, of course.
it's like
Any
straight up crime.
any powerful circles, it rules for thee, not for me.
Yes.
Would serve with the SS, saw action in the Netherlands, France, eventually Yugoslavia for the Balkan campaign. During the invasion of France, he traveled with the First Waffen SS Division artillery. Didn't see a lot of action there. Like I said, he went to the German campaign in the Balkans. Compelled a large Yugoslav force to surrender, and then was promoted to lieutenant if you're British.
Yes.
From there, he was transferred. I don't know how happy he was about this, but he was transferred to the Eastern Front for Operation Barbarossa.
Yikes.
And so this was the Germany's unsuccessful attempt to move into the Russian theater and take Moscow. And he was to go basically lay siege to the Capitol buildings in Moscow. Were they successful? But they weren't.
Yeah. I'm sorry, real quick here, a couple of things. So he was one of the people that was supposed to go after Tito.
Yes, we'll get to that. But yeah.
Oh, I thought you just did.
No.
Oh, that was an earlier thing. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. And Barbarossa really was, I think we think in hindsight that Hitler really wanted fuel.
Yeah.
And that's why he ultimately invaded. But also, like, while he does have like a truce with them, it's like, just buy the fucking fuel, man.
Well, how much money does?
That's I suppose.
There was money.
They're spending all their money on cool logos.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're gonna spend a lot more bodies,
Yeah, what did he send? 3 million when they sent to the Eastern Front.
Jesus Christ.
Like they were just conscripting people that were too old. Like
Yeah. Well, and then how many of them were quality?
yeah, not many. Well, I don't want to say that. I don't know. Maybe these were good guys.
I meall everybody was pretty fucking down for the cause, man. It's pretty fucking wild.
I read some interesting stuff. I would have to find it again, but there's all this. The legend of the Reich in World War II is this heavily mechanized, precise machine, but so much. There was still a lot like cavalry.
Yeah.
There was a lot,
Oh, okay.
a lot of just boots on the ground. Of course, infantry and cavalry. Like it wasn't all just fucking tanks and Messerschmitts. There was still a lot of like old school World War I style, just moving across the front. It's very interesting to like picture that when you have this idea of like just trains and tanks and planes and cars.
Well, they
and
also,
stuff like that.
their thing too was like having like the Panzers, and they were like tanks that haul ass.
Yeah. And the Tigers too.
Those are the huge ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like they said, just even with the average infantryman, like it was like Europe had never seen soldiers like this before.
Yeah, fucking the meth.
Yeah,
meth
they're all
and
meth.
belief and
Yeah.
desperation and revenge. They said like the Panzers and the Tigers were like much better tanks than the American Germans, but they said that like for every Panzer tank there was like 10 Shermans.
Really?
We just cranked them out more than they could handle. Like the way the Russians threw bodies at them, we threw tanks at them.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing is that, we had all these good women in the factories just turning out
those
like
rivets, baby.
Yeah.
The
Oh my
rivets.
God. The riveting back then.
So
Not like Boeing today.
can you put the fucking doors on?
Come on.
Number 2, like on a plane, you gotta have wings
Yeah.
and doors.
Yeah.
Roof is cool.
Also just, so like, obviously with the hand-to-hand shit, and not hand-to-hand, but like man-to-man fighting power, Russians have this thing. But the American thing is that we do have so many people here to work in factories.
Yeah, and we had untapped natural resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just like the country's fucking huge.
Yeah, and full of oil and everything
and,
else. Yeah,
and
yeah.
ore and wood and all
Yeah.
sorts of cool stuff like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
trees.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that where wood comes
Trees.
from?
Trees. Mm.
So now around like so this is around 42. Operation Barbarossa is a failure. He gets like a gallbladder infection, and he's getting airlifted out of there. And his plane is fucking hit by some artillery, and he gets some shrapnel in the head.
Oh my God.
He comes home. He gets the Iron Cross for bravery. He's sent home to Vienna to recover. And while he's home, he's reading a lot, learning a lot about commando warfare. And he, just like any, red-blooded
Mm-hmm.
German, young man, he gets fascinated by the idea of commandos.
Can you describe commando warfare?
Highly trained, highly capable killing machine groups of
Yeah.
men. Think Navy SEALs,
Yeah,
think the IDF.
Well, we
Yeah.
know Navy SEALs can be stopped by a simple karate man.
that's
Well,
true.
I mean, listen, man, Karate Man's like Commando Plus.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you're talking about like Jesse Ventura, all
Arnold
those guys,
Schwarzenegger.
all those slack-jawed, whatever you call them.
If it bleeds, you can kill a type of stuff.
Yeah.
Stick
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
things like that. You have to say cool catchphrases.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
big part of it.
And
Have
so
me some fun tonight.
he was kind of a shithead, like a think for yourselfer.
Mm.
You're like, yes, he was an ardent Nazi, but more than anything, he was like out for number one. And I guess there's some stories of him. He was I think he was on a base, and he held one of his superior officers at gunpoint to get new tires for his truck.
So he's an insane man.
He is an insane man.
He held one of his superior
Yeah.
officers at gunpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's some fucking shit.
At least ask for a promotion while you're doing it.
But there's no repercussions for that.
I think he was put in the brig for a little bit.
Yeah.
You gotta get new tires. Bro.
Yeah. The cars never run better.
Hitler was like, I like his style. He's a
went-
real wild man.
He was in a bar in Austria, near wherever he was stationed, and there was a picture of some Nazi he didn't like on the wall, and he told the bartender to take it down. He wouldn't do it, and he shot it.
Wow.
It's just, a real wild card kind of guy.
Yeah, you spend a night with that guy, you never know what's going to happen.
Let's see. He did, he took part in a lot of operations. He did Operation Francois. He parachuted into Iran. He did some various parachuting missions. But he was still taken by this the idea of commando warfare.
Yeah.
Just boots on the ground,
Mhm.
sneaky, highly trained, capable guys. He submits these ideas to his higher ups, and it makes its way up the chain, and he gets the green light to put together some commando groups. And so he trains his men crazy, and this is their first mission, Operation Francois. Like I said, he drops into Iran. They were tasked with contacting dissident tribes in the region and encouraging them to attack Allied supply lines. And I think that when they bribed them with some gold,
Mm-hmm.
but once the gold ran out, they gave them up to the British.
Wow.
Shortly thereafter that, late 42, Benito Mussolini's regime is
Crumbling.
Mm-hmm.
And he was arrested by the Italian government, Benito Mussolini, and he was moved through a series of safe houses. And Hitler was like pissed off about this. Like, this is my number one guy.
Yeah.
And so he ordered people to put together a plan to rescue Mussolini.
No way.
And I guess he had some guys around, and Skorzeny was one of them. And Hitler asked, like, "What do you guys think about the
Did you
Italian?"
say Skorzeny?
Skorzeny.
Okay, yeah.
We both,
Scorsese is Italian.
we both heard Skorzeny.
Skorzeny.
Yeah.
Got it.
And some of the guys were like, "Oh, the Italians are the great, good allies." And then Skorzeny was like, "I hate Italians." Hitler was like, "Nice,
My guy.
my guy." So in July of 43, Hitler has a meeting with Skorzeny about the possibility of rescuing Mussolini,
Yeah.
who had been imprisoned high in the mountains in Italy.
Yeah.
Skorzeny was familiar a little bit with Italy. I guess he had taken a pre-war honeymoon trip there. He had done so. Then he does a couple of like reconnaissance flights
Okay.
over the area. He gets shot down twice.
Oh my God.
And
Because that's probably Patton there at that point.
in Italy,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. I think so.
And so one of the sources I read is that nobody really knew. It was very secret where he was being held.
I imagine so. Yeah.
And like I said, they were moving him around and stuff. And he just got drunk and would wander around these towns and tell people Benito Mussolini was dead. And they would be like, no, he's not. He's over here. And so he found out, just like boots on the ground intel, having people like wanting to sound cool, telling him that he was holed up. He was holed up at this ski hotel resort up in the what are they called? The Apennines? Is that Apennines? The Apennines.
Yeah, probably not doing great business at the time. You know.
Not.
Yeah.
So, yes, he was located at the Campo Imperatore Hotel atop Gran Sasso Mountain. And they give him 1 day to come up with a plan.
The Nazis.
Yes. 1 day to come up with a plan to rescue him. And like, all right.
Let's blow up the mountain.
The guy who got shot down twice.
Yeah. He is obviously like, I like ground assaults. I like fucking parachute. I like cool shit like that.
I like stabbing people.
I don't know, paragliding.
The
That's
only way
cool.
up the mountain is like a ski lift.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
Less cool than, like a snowmobile.
Yeah, I don't know if those really, like, that snowmobile technology had really ascended to what you and I know today.
Oh, okay.
Fuck.
So they have 1 day to plan, and they're like, all right, here's what's going to happen. We're going to have guys come in on gliders,
Yeah.
and then we're going to have these other guys come down,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to commandeer the ski lift. And then we're going to do a pincer movement.
Oh.
I know what that is.
They're fucking, like, they're scrambling to make this shit happen. They're not able to train. They don't know, like, can these gliders fucking, fly the cold air, the snow, the drafts from the
Planes.
Who fucking like
Get
are
shot
they gonna
down.
get all that shit?
What if there's tigers? Anything. Anybody have an idea?
As they're taking all Allies bomb the airstrip that they're taking off from. That further delays them.
Oh my God.
So
It's all Plan B, so they have to.
the guys, one group of a separate group of commandos that he wasn't commanding, they commandeer the ski lift and they go up. The other guys, they come in gliders. He busts in to a room, finds them,
Finds Mussolini.
grabs them,
Mm-hmm.
and they go. Takes the place without a shot being fired.
Yeah.
Not a shot being fired, except for one glider who fell through a roof and discharged his rifle accident.
Oh my God.
Pretty crazy.
Wow.
That's fucking nuts. So
Hey.
they all went skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free ski lift. That's rare these days.
Mussolini wasn't like too jazzed about being rescued because, like, he's on vacation as like retirement. You know?
yeah.
Well,
big.
also,
It's like, I gotta go back to this fucking.
it's like, yeah, and you don't want to leave Italy. It's not a good look
Right.
when you used to be Il Duce. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
He was apparently he was not super jazzed about it, but
Well, no one likes getting rescued by Nazis.
especially when you're like, you're having a hot toddy or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
the Nazis preserving life.
so
He's in
they,
the middle of a conjugal visit.
so like between the gliders and like the commandos that took the ski lift, like there was jockeying for who's gonna get the credit.
Yeah.
And there's a small plane was commissioned, a very small plane that was commissioned and loaded to take Mussolini back. And Skorzeny was like, you know what? We're going to wait. Roll cameras. Okay. And so he takes Mussolini, gets the footage of him walking him onto the plane, says, I'm getting on the plane with you. The pilot's like, dude, I don't have, like, it can't take, you're 6'4", 220 pounds. Like, we might crash.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
we barely got here, you know?
Yeah.
Does it anyways. And then that just, like, gives Hitler a huge boner for him. He's like, he calls him the most dangerous man in Europe.
Wait. So Mussolini did make it to Nazi Germany?
He got Mussolini.
He got lost.
They left on a Feisler F1 156 Storch. They arrived in Rome. He escorted Mussolini to Vienna.
Okay.
As a reward for the mission, Skorzeny was promoted to major and awarded the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross by Hitler.
Damn.
And so this was part of like their propaganda
Mm-hmm.
of like, look, we got just the most Ubermensch guy. you know?
Yeah. But also, I mean, I from what I understand, there was well, I think what you talked about it in the Tito episode too, is that there was not a lot of cohesion between Italian forces and German forces.
There wasn't cohesion between some of the German forces and the German forces.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, and so like that would create problems. And then I know Hitler was frustrated with Mussolini's failures. But yeah, he did like fucking admire him so much. And I guess is it because he kind of got going first?
Yeah, and he was, I think, naturally more charismatic
Mm-hmm.
and a better speaker initially, and like,
Yeah,
Hitler
and very
practiced
much
in front of a mirror.
and playing on the Caesar thing too,
yes, the
you
new
know,
the Rome,
because that's ultimately what Hitler was trying to say. He's
it was
like,
the new Rome.
but yeah,
The Third
Right,
Reich is
right.
trying to emulate the Roman Empire, and then you've got a guy who's actually in it.
yeah.
Also, apparently, this is disputed, but his secondary mission was if he had time to also kidnap the Pope. But I don't think that was
The
gonna
Pope,
work.
the Pope was their best friend.
Yeah, you didn't need to kidnap him.
He would've
Just
just
give him some money.
give him a couple of skis
Yeah.
and a lift ticket.
Yeah, look, there's no one using the
Yeah, that reeks of desperation if that is true, because
Well, we're getting there, right? It's 43. So
yeah, desperate times.
I
I mean,
imagine just you have a gun to the Pope's head. I'll kill this fucking.
well, you see if he really believes.
you want to meet your mate?
Because I think we talked about in that episode too. Like I said, the clergy was deeply aware of the Holocaust in Yugoslavia,
Mm-hmm.
in the Croatian region especially, and then even the Vatican City was a trade with Mussolini.
Yeah, give us this as our.
They were like,
our-
just
Right,
make
right.
us our own country over here, and we'll look the other way on all your crazy shit.
Yeah.
So that Pope couldn't have been more friendly to the Axis.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah, that looking the other way is complicity, being compliant.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
You're still, even though you're you're still there.
Was there like was there a third thing to do? It's like if you get Mussolini, you get the Pope.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's
you got to
like-
get a panettone back. You gotta
yeah,
bring a
yeah.
panettone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bring back some espresso.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he's promoted to lieutenant colonel, given operational control of Hitler's SS Special Forces. Like I said, given the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross. It's Cross of the Cross, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
And Hitler is the one that calls him the most dangerous man in Europe.
Yeah.
Really kind of
I mean, there's a lot of guys there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also Hitler, pretty dangerous man himself.
You could say that.
Yeah.
And you would have to imagine, I guess Goebbels would have been trotting out,
Call him that. Call him that. Yeah.
trotting out a lot of, reels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a successful PR stunt.
Mm-hmm.
So, in 43, Nazi intelligence gets word that Stalin, Churchill, and Roosevelt are going to meet in Tehran,
Oh yeah,
right? And so,
big fucking deal.
yeah, they were going to go there to strategize, prevent the country's oil fields from being taken by Axis powers.
Mm-hmm.
And Hitler approves a plan called Operation Long Jump, which is to send Skorzeny there to assassinate the three leaders of the Allied forces.
Wow.
Dude, they are like fucking straight Bond villains, bro.
Hey, there's a man in a paraglide. Oh no!
What's on his face?
Why are they on a ski lift?
Why is there a ski lift in the middle of summer?
Yeah, in
Middle of
Tehran.
nowhere.
So, Stalin says that his NKVD has known about this for a while,
Really?
and reportedly he tells Roosevelt and Churchill about this, and it never comes to fruition
Because
they move it.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's it. They never would have thought of that.
Ha
He shows up in Tehran. He's like, where the fuck are they?
Can you fucking imagine if that?
Bro.
Holy fucking shit.
It would have been
Well,
so demoralizing.
Well, there's also that story of when Roosevelt's heading over, one of the ships that's supposed to be guarding him accidentally shoots a torpedo because they were doing training, and one of the torpedoes had been loaded,
Oh my
Yeah.
and they actually shot a torpedo at Roosevelt's boat
Oh my
on the way
God.
over.
Yeah. We talked about that in an episode.
I believe so. Yeah.
Did his wheelchair have like an ejector seat and like little turbines, like
Yeah. Yeah, and then it
Like
just
a
drops him into the ocean.
like a jet ski or
Yeah.
something like that,
Yeah.
with his little blanket on him, like Professor X?
Yeah. He was basically Inspector
The
Gadget.
pictures that you see of him at that time, he looks like shit.
Yeah, he's old as fuck.
Old, riddled with polio.
Yeah, I think around then they'd stopped pretending like he could walk too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just
He's
fucking
very Professor X.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
pretty kind of. That is kind of cool.
Yeah, well these days.
It's
that's
his
cool.
fourth fucking term too.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, come on.
I'm getting too old for this shit. So, from there, later in 43, November 43, he is tasked with Operation Knight's Leap or Knight's Jump, chess maneuver, to go get Joseph Tito.
Yes.
So Tito was able to establish a government in Bosnia,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the end of 43, beginning of 44. Now there's rivalry between different divisions of the German military here.
Yeah.
And none of them really knew where Tito was.
Yeah.
He was moving around. It was he kept it, under lock and key. He was very tight-lipped.
Wrapped it up.
And
And I believe some of the landscape would lend itself to hiding because it would be like, these ravines and
yeah, he was in a
mounds
cave. His headquarters, he was in a cave.
and- Yeah.
And the thing was that Tito found out about this months before the rest of the German military, and he just didn't tell them. So he's just like, you know what? I was going to personally lead this thing.
Wait. You
Wait,
said
no,
Tito.
not Tito.
Tito.
Wait.
I'm sorry, Skorzeny.
Skorzeny.
Skorzeny had visited Zagreb, and he was like, this is impossible. He's in a fucking cave. He doesn't tell the rest of the divisions of the German military and lets them go bungle it.
Mhm.
And he just pulls out.
Yeah.
Think for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
How many of these guys died?
Well, it was also a thing too where I think I said in the episode it was like the first successful regime to have like a
It's functioning communist state or
no functioning just resistance
against the Nazis.
yeah where they had like portions of the country were freed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was why the Allies were like, we got to deal with this Tito guy. He's getting shit done.
Yeah.
Instead of we would normally be like the Royals, of course.
Right.
And I told you in that movie.
Yeah.
Where they don't ever say Skorzeny, but they do have fucking what's his name?
Law?
Slugworth.
Slugworth plays Skorzeny.
He plays a nameless German that is one of their biggest things was like they did fight their way out of they found the location and the Nazis and were coming in from one side, the Italians were coming in from another, and it was like a lot of fucking Slavs died.
Yeah.
And but yeah, the fucking Slugworth guy, all he does, he also, that guy that plays Slugworth has like one of the most German names of all time. And all he's done is Slugworth, this movie with, what's his name as Tito?
Richard Lawson?
Burton.
Richard Burton.
Richard Burton.
yeah.
And then the boys from Brazil.
All fucking.
All Nazis.
He's a Nazi in all of them.
Yeah.
His name in Willy Wonka was Slugworth.
Yeah.
It was, but he anglicized it,
Yeah.
He dresses like when he's got the fucking hat, like the
Oh, he
Indiana
look-
Jones hat.
He looks the part, man.
So he backed out of this because he knew it wasn't going to happen and let some other guys bungle it up. Later, he would have more success in October of 44, Hungary at this point is thinking about allying with the Soviets and coming to some terms with the Soviets because they're kind of reading the writing on the wall, border situation.
Yeah.
And Hitler's like, nah, it's not that. I don't want that to happen. So Hitler sends Skorzeny to Budapest in Operation Panzerfaust, which is Armored Fist.
Oh.
Where he kidnaps the son of the Hungarian leader. This is Miklos Horthy.
Wow.
He kidnaps his son. They roll him into a carpet and they take him out and they send him to Mauthausen concentration camp.
Jesus.
And his father, the leader, I think he's technically the king by decree of the prime minister. They have a kind of dual kind of thing, and he was like, "You're the king right now because we're at war." And so his father does a radio address, basically saying, "We've come to terms with the Soviets. We've negotiated terms with Russia." Hours later, Skorzeny rolls up with fucking tanks outside the building, all pointed at him, surrounds him with tanks and men. He's taken to Germany, put under house arrest until the end of the war.
The father is.
The father, the real leader. So they took his son basically as like, check it out what we can do.
Yeah.
We'll do this to you too. We'll roll you on a fucking carpet.
Yeah.
And take you to fucking Mauthausen concentration camp, which I've been to.
Really?
Yeah, it's...
You loved it.
No. It was fucking somber as fuck.
Yeah.
It wasn't a death camp per se, but it was like a work you to death camp.
Yeah.
They had like a rock quarry with like these steep ass steps where they just basically worked people till they died. And so after this, Hungary's now a German what would you call it? Puppet state?
Yes.
Right? Prior to that, I think there was, tens of thousands of Jews were killed. After that, the body count increased to 400,000 Hungarian Jews.
Jesus Christ.
Were killed in the Holocaust after Skorzeny deposed of this guy. Yeah, big deal. Yeah,
that is insanity.
It's pretty fucking brutal shit.
400,000 people. Jesus.
Yeah. I think it was like 380 at camps and then another 20-something of starvation. So after this, now we're getting close. We're getting towards the end of the war here. We're getting toward D-Day.
Yeah.
D-Day happens, and now the Allies open a new front in Europe, right? And then you have, then there's like...
Oh, so I'm wrong then. Patton wouldn't have been there in 43, right?
He shouldn't have been.
He...
42.
It would have made more sense for him to be there if D-Day happened, because if D-Day is happening now, because he would have been there before.
It's 2 years. I don't know where Patton is, dude.
Yeah.
I don't even know where he is now.
Patton definitely started in Italy and then started moving, east, I guess.
Well, they had him as a fake out for D-Day.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
And those inflatable tanks.
Yeah.
Love that stuff.
Little toys and shit.
So that you have the Ardennes, the forest, the Battle of the Bulge is about to happen. And so basically the Germans are trying to mount a counteroffensive to this new front that's been opened because of the, I guess you could call, successful D-Day operation.
And then here comes a man in a ski lift.
Just skiing in like fucking Inception.
Here comes a guy in a rocket belt.
Whoa, he's spinning around.
His assignment was to man Operation Grief or Operation Griffin.
Oh.
He was to lead 2,000 English-speaking Germans dressed in American uniforms.
Oh, God.
Who and create chaos and havoc behind enemy lines.
Wow.
So,
like they're in the barracks going like asking for cheeseburgers.
Basically, dude, he's like, all right, how many of you speak English? And they're all like, yeah. And he was like, not good enough, not good. He's like, so what he did is he found like the 10, 20 guys who spoke the best English without an accent and had them all lead their own divisions, and you're the designated speaker.
Yeah.
Like the rest, you don't say shit.
They're just asking about Betty Grable.
Yeah.
So pretty close, dude. So
how about them Yankees?
so they get sent behind enemy lines.
I saw the team.
They're destroying fuel depots. They're turning road signs around. They're cutting communication lines.
Classic.
Yeah.
They like if they do successfully meet they're passing bogus orders to American
I
divisions.
think they're supposed to retreat.
Yeah.
And they sent entire brigades in the wrong direction.
Really?
And so, but within a few days, the Allies figured it out, and that only like increased the amount of paranoia and chaos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because like, oh my God, we're being fucking infiltrated.
Yeah. Who are we talking to? It's gonna slow everything down.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
they're stopping anybody who they meet. They're like, all right, who do you like in the World Series?
Right.
What do you think? What was your favorite movie back home?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you couldn't answer shit like that,
You get shot.
Boy, really, like the American soldier who's not up with popular culture back then is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
right? So one,
Imagine me. I'm like, I don't know who's in the fucking World Series, man.
Fuck you.
I'm into punk shit. Like, you're dead.
I'm into punk shit like back then. You're like, I like guitar.
jazz.
Yeah,
jazz.
jazz, daddy, jazz.
You got another?
Yeah.
So one lower ranked guy, he stops U.S. General Omar Bradley, asks him what the capital of Illinois is. He says Springfield. The guy goes, no, it's Chicago. So he arrests General Omar Bradley.
Okay.
Oh
Also,
my
a big
God.
problem with the American soldier. Fucking stupid.
Uneducated.
Yeah. It's a real tough mix to be asking question.
Nice try, mister.
Quiz questions when you don't know the answer yourself.
Dude, the German guy's like, obviously it's Springfield.
Yeah, exactly.
Springfield. No doubt about it.
This is where the great President Lincoln was.
Adolf gets it.
British General Montgomery had the tires of his Jeep shot out because they thought he just looked German.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Also, we would have German Americans.
Yeah.
He was a British general, but yeah, he probably was German too.
No.
But for all this chaos, this short-term chaos that it sowed, it didn't sway the war because Patton shows up and he pushes the German counteroffensive back.
Right.
And that's the Battle of the Bulge.
Mm.
Fuck. Patton's book is so good, man. He's fucking nuts. I can't believe
Yeah,
he wrote some
yeah.
of these sentences down. I cannot believe it.
Oh, Patton?
Patton.
What sentences?
You're gonna have to quote something.
You know what? He goes, he's talking about like meeting with like, the generals, right?
Uh-huh.
We're talking fucking, what would it be now?
The guy that has an
Ike,
insurance company?
Eisenhower,
Bradley.
MacArthur, yeah, about all these guys. And he's like, people were saying, oh, we should have this thing and then maybe make some soft moves here and like, do some appeasement. And he goes, all I advocated for was violence everywhere with everything.
Yeah.
Violence everywhere with everything? Like,
Wasn't that that movie, Everything All Over?
Yeah, yeah.
it's like a
Way
fucking,
before
like,
his time.
something a 5-year-old would say.
Yeah.
Oh, violence!
Yeah. Kill.
Fire, good!
Violent, angry.
Violence everywhere with everything? I was like,
That's all I asked. That's all I asked for. I'm a simple man, Jack.
Yeah.
All I asked for is
I don't know what you guys are talking about with
I
making
don't-
deals
yeah.
and
I don't know about
handshakes.
appeasement.
No.
Coming crazy?
Yeah.
Weirdo. That's
And,
just something
part
I
of-
enjoy.
I think part of it was he was really advocating against people that were like, yo, after this is done, we're going to have to,
Deal with the Soviets.
we're going to have to also rebuild this fucking place and
Why
not
not make it better?
and not have, ill will against us. And he was like, man, I don't give a fuck about that shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he's like just a psycho.
Yeah, that's why you don't let the generals make the choice of using nukes or not.
Right.
Because they'll go,
They
well,
would've done it.
we want to end the war as quick as possible, so let's just
Yeah.
nuke everything.
Yeah, and that's also why I think they were like his popularity is, and his, militancy is why some people think like his accident was like a conspiracy and stuff.
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah. Fucking,
sure.
what's his name? Who used to host that show on Fox News?
O'Reilly, yeah.
O'Reilly wrote the book Killing Patton. All these like the revisionist history.
It's killing everybody.
Yeah, killing.
Yeah, he kills everybody.
Who's behind these books?
What do you mean?
People who don't people
Bestsellers.
people who put them on
Oh,
bookshelves.
yeah.
Well, people put them on bookshelves and don't read them, or they're like Fox News buys 10,000 or like
Yeah, they
100,000
stuff
of
in
them.
a
And yeah,
fucking, that
yeah. Here's a free
Indiana Jones warehouse.
a tote bag for you every
Yeah.
time you take a dump at Fox Station.
No, I got family members that read them. So,
Do they read them?
oh yeah,
Cover to cover, baby.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like 25 words.
Yeah, it's
a lot of pictures in them.
It's I mean, honestly, like very dumbed down history.
Well, it's
and
also
it's
wrong.
fanfic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's 1944. Operation Valkyrie takes place, and this is the attempt within Hitler's innerish circle to assassinate him.
Yeah, and the war. And
the war.
Yeah.
And I believe Rommel was in the mix there.
Yeah, and
Desert Fox.
he's called back to the scene to try and bring some order, but at that point the uprising had already been snuffed.
Yeah.
But he did apparently kind of be like, all right, let's fucking cool shit. Apparently he did bring some order back. I guess you could say cooler heads prevailed, but that's not the right phrase here. But he did he did calm.
I would not call him a cool head, but I mean,
as a man who pulled a gun over tires.
At least maybe in this way he was preserving the general status quo. Did you ever see the Cruise movie about it?
Valkyrie? No, I didn't see it.
I didn't either. I'm sure it's obviously heavily fictionalized, whatever. But
I think it's called Killing Valkyrie. Is that what it was?
I think that was a Thor movie.
Oh, but there was two very famous ones that I know of, and one was a bomb on a plane, and the other one was a bomb under the table.
Right.
But the table was just such a fucking beast.
Yeah, it just
yeah. And yeah, Rommel, I guess whoever they finally got to, they rolled up on Rommel, and they were like, "We know you were part of this," and they took him away from his family. He had to say goodbye to his family like on the spot, and then was driven like shortly down the road and shot.
This is the Desert Fox?
Yeah, and it's crazy too because like you think about all of the propaganda that's going into it, and say like what I was saying, like the reels about this guy Skorzeny, but like Rommel had fucking reels on reels, daddy.
Yeah,
you know
he
what
was
I mean?
their patent.
He was their patent, and a lot of people just, without politics involved at all, they're like one of the greatest generals of all time.
Yeah.
But they, Goebbels and stuff had built him up so much that, like, in like the waning war years, like there had to be like some people in public being like, "What happened to Rommel? Wasn't that like our fucking our newest hero?"
Nobody knows.
And they go like,
There's a bakery in town wondering where their best customer is.
But that is the kind of thing with the Valkyrie project or whatever, like where you go like, there are like, you forget that there's some people in the German military that are just Germans.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you really.
They're not necessarily Nazis at all, and they're kind of like, we're gonna get fucked with this asshole in charge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a little factoid, I mentioned he had some engineering expertise. He did design a ramp to load tanks on and off of ships.
Huh.
Just a fun little aside. It's not all murdering and stuff. It's
Was it just
engineering and design to facilitate murdering.
Was it just a ramp that laid on the ship?
Dude, I don't fucking know.
Because then you just drive the tank up the ramp. Sounds like a ramp.
Sounds like a romp.
Listen, man. This was the 40s, dude. Ramps? This is high tech.
Yeah.
You ever see the PT boats from D-Day? It's the worst fucking design ever.
Yeah. They open up.
Down into the...
I mean,
hey, how about doors to the side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to die anyways, but like... Those PT boats, like, when I saw Saving Private Ryan, I was like, no.
The best idea was...
Don't do it.
Yeah. You know what would be crazy is a roof.
Yeah.
Suicide doors, some sort of shield situation.
How about just a metal roof?
Or like a catapult.
Yeah.
Yeah, launch the people in. Gliders.
Yeah, gliders.
Ski lifts.
Yeah, a catapult.
Ski lifts over Normandy Beach.
Yeah, with like a wingsuit and they can shoot while they're flying through the air.
Rocket belts.
Oh, my God. Yes, rocket belts.
Big time.
That would have really flummoxed them.
So the end of the war is becoming, it's becoming apparent that Germany is losing the war.
Yeah.
And the higher-ups in the Nazi regime, including Heinrich Himmler, are secretly exploring negotiating terms with the Allies because they're preparing for life after. This is Hitler preparing Operation Werewolf. You heard of it?
No.
So you remember your friend's comic book Wolves of Summer?
Yes.
I think that other than the the prevalence of wolf imagery in in German folklore and mythology in general, I think it may have something to do with Operation Werewolf. So, he gets Skorzeny, and he's like, all right, we need to get small bands of Nazi and SS members and train them to continue an underground guerrilla war after we get occupied.
Yeah.
Just hide out, cause chaos, sow dissent, make it difficult for whoever's occupying us after we're
Look, Hitler's no coward. He's not just gonna fucking kill himself if things get bad.
Not the Fuhrer.
No.
Yeah. But there was some of this stuff that is kind of explored, like in a 1984 way, where there was like, kids are like, the height of the war, indoctrinated so hard with Nazi stuff, and they're getting into Hitler Youth, and they would be the kind of kids like in 1984 that would turn over their parents.
Yes.
Because like the Reich was more important than your own family.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the premise of that comic book.
And who better to like continue like the Nazi ideology than the kids who were dyed in the wool and grew up with it. Like the people, like the adults who weren't necessarily like raised with Nazi ideology, they see the writing on the wall, the war is going to end. They can be like, oh, well, it'll just be like before, we'll switch back. It'll be, we'll go back to normal. These kids, it's all they've known.
Yeah,
like those
right.
would be the perfect little tiny werewolves to try and do that,
Yeah. I'm sorry, can I just stop you real quick? I just want to say, like, there's a thing where you go, like, to be this down for this thing, it's kind of crazy to get your head around how they think if they were successful, like, the world would be better. Because, entire races would be extinguished. But even them in their own thing, like, they thought Scandinavians were more white than them, so they had, like, that whole breeding program.
Yeah, where we got ABBA.
ABBA people came from that. And then people in those countries hated them because they were, like, doing what they told at gunpoint.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you can't be mad at them. Come on.
Fuck that hot 6-foot blonde. Oh, all right.
Yeah, so, like, it's, like, a weird thing, too, where you're going, like, there's even, like, some self-hate involved in the fucking, in the theology. Like, what do they actually think a 1,000-year Reich would look like?
Right, and the guy who's running the Aryan fucking manifesto is a guy with brown hair, might be part Jewish. He's from Austria. Like, doesn't even look the part.
Yeah, it's wild that so many people were on board with it. But I think at the end of the day, it was just so much resentment over the First World War that you could just be like, okay, fine, whatever.
And it's romantic to them.
Yeah.
It's they really
the spirits coming out of the Black Forest, all that stuff.
The Schwarzwald.
Yeah,
it's a reclamation of self. It's you're saying I'm strong enough to be this powerful thing,
and rising from the ashes too.
Yeah.
Like we had everybody treated them. I mean, abysmally after the First World War. It was a thing.
Humiliating.
Reconstruction was like, oh man, if they were mad after that first one, they're gonna be so mad after this one. We better. And now Germany is like one of the most stable countries in Europe that bails other countries out and shit like that, and it clearly worked.
Reconstruction compared to World War I,
it was like all about humiliating them and rubbing their fucking faces in the dirt.
Yeah, and then, they have a very
two different
thorough like history. Like, this is what we did. This is, they don't erase their history,
right?
Compared to other,
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, they make it like, you got to learn what we did because like it was bad.
Yeah.
So with his Operation Werewolf, like the early days of it, he's training guys in sniping, sabotage, homemade bomb making,
tires.
This was a real program initiated by the SS, but it didn't get very far.
To start training other people while you actually need them in the streets is
right.
hard.
Yeah, having like your plan C when like, you need every able-bodied dude. So back in Berlin, he has his final meeting with Hitler. He's given the oak leaves where he's awarded it, but he actually never gets the medal. Hitler sends him to Austria. And there's where he gets news of Hitler's suicide and the end of the war. They realized that Operation Werewolf was never going to work, especially in Austria where he was, like mountainous this. It was too big of an operation ever to get off the ground, especially with how quickly the war was ending. They just didn't have time to make it work. And so he sees the writing on the wall and he goes, I'm the fucking most dangerous man in Europe. I'm high up. You know what? I could be a valuable asset if I turn myself in.
What?
So, hoping to convince the Allies that he'd be a good Nazi, he surrenders. Skorzeny
takes a ski lift right down.
Now, and I believe it would be to the British if it's in Austria at that time, because that was...
He's arrested by American troops May 15th, 1945.
No shit. In Austria?
Mm-hmm.
No, they're just all drunk wandering around.
He's
Europe, you can go anywhere.
Arrested. He's questioned.
You guys see Mussolini anywhere?
He's questioned for months, very light, like not too aggressively. But then he is taken. They turn Dachau into a court. So they take like what?
Good move.
Maybe the second most famous death camp.
Yeah, good move.
And they turn it into a court. And he is tried for war crimes. I think it's here also that they staff Dachau with all black prison guards from America just to rub it in their faces.
Oh my God, that's funny.
He was determined to be sent to Nuremberg to stand trial mainly for Operation Griffin, for the using American equipment and uniforms, and also having poison bullets, which would constitute chemical warfare.
Yes.
Yeah, not like a liquid poison, but I think it was a mineral that these things were tipped in, and if you were shot, you'd get sick and die.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And he was left in solitary confinement for a big part.
As if lead isn't a chemical.
Well, it just takes
not
longer.
as much as that.
Sorry,
I forget the name of the chemical.
But it would be a Geneva Conventions thing.
Yes.
Oh, this one only has food poisoning on it. I'm just throwing up a lot.
It's got old mayo.
Oh, I'm shitting.
Oh yeah, it's got raw chicken. His gallbladder starts acting up.
No.
He's shitting all over the place.
Oh.
They send him back to Dachau, and then he gets acquitted.
How?
He gets acquitted of the one thing that they were trying him for,
Which was
Griffin, by basically saying, your guys did the same fucking thing. And British troops did admit to taking German uniforms, going over enemy lines, and basically violating the rules of the war.
Is that way? That's illegal in war? The rules of war are very confusing.
They were very, very... There's vague terminology in
no subterfuge
in the rules of war about improper use of enemy uniforms. Whatever improper means.
Yeah, well, you don't know low cuts.
Yeah, no midriff, bare midriff.
That's a fucking rule written by leaders.
Yeah,
right.
They're like these fucking
quite improper.
These morons that give me all of their taxes don't know the proper bloke to shoot.
So he's
one color per army, please.
Now you need to just wave a flag and wait for a man to shoot you. Understood?
Look him dead in the eye, shake him in the hand, and let him shoot you right in the face. Like a good boy.
There is some old war movie. I think I told you all this before. It's but it's like where they're like, close with like, the Allies and the Germans and, in the countryside. And they have this thing where like they hear somebody coming and they go, apple. And it might be like a fucking like, an old Steve McQueen movie or something like that, but they go apple. And then if you're an American, you know to say streusel.
Yes.
And then
that's confusing as fuck.
Well, not really, because you're
apple, streusel, Marco. Polo.
But there's a scene where it's like the guy hears like some crunch and he goes apple, and the guy goes pie. And just machine gun fire explodes. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's just. Pie. Like a guy just gambling. They're Americans. They love apple pie.
Macintosh.
Computers.
Steve Jobs.
You guys will get it. You're not gonna get it, but your kids will love it. In The Great Escape, Charlie Bronson is in The Great Escape, and that scene where he has to like tunnel, and he has to dig through, and he has claustrophobia. he actually did,
Really?
because like he was in the war
Yeah.
and he did.
Really?
Yeah.
In the war?
I'm pretty sure he was in the war,
Fuck.
and he did have like here's the thing, all those guys in the Great Escape were in the war.
Yeah.
Can you believe that shit? I mean, we were just talking about on the Patreon when we were talking about It's a Wonderful Life, and we
Yeah.
were talking about, you know, all these fucking the greatest generation, all
Jimmy-
these fucking actors and athletes.
Jimmy Stewart telling people to get over the top.
Right, sack ups, you slack jawed.
now. Get over there.
Get over there, over the hill, and kill the lousy hunting bastards.
Apple.
Well, if that motherfucker says pie, waste him.
Cut him down.
Put him out.
Oh.
Oh shucks. So,
If I get out of this hellhole, I'm gonna go back and suck old man Potter's dick.
Fuck that town.
so he you know, he's facing basically they're just bouncing him around. Like he gets acquitted, but he's handed over to German authorities, where he's still in a prison. And
They can't love that.
yeah, it's all like, you know, the post-war German authorities, or the quote-unquote denazified German authorities. But in 48,
10-minute video.
he
That's how you get to
It's a training video.
yeah, they just peel your eyes and make you watch a fucking. So he escapes. He's broken out of prison by
Mussolini himself.
yeah. Hey, check it out, bro! It's a fucking me, Benito, Il Duce.
In one hand, they wash it the other.
He's a fucking guy. He come and get me out of the fucking chalet Suisse. Oh, fucking. My turn to take a fucking picture with you.
I got a plane.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on a ski lift.
Right to the top, but slowly.
So it wasn't that hard. It was some Nazis who bing.
So that's the thing too, is that like there were some people that were still in the cut.
Yeah, they needed a 15-minute video.
Yeah, it was. They fucking dressed up as American MPs.
I'd like a cheeseburger.
Apple pie is great. They showed up with the correct paperwork to get him out. They said they were transferring him to a hearing in Nuremberg. They fucking get him out, take him to Bavaria, and he's fucking out.
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
And this leads some people to believe that he may have been a CIA asset, because like the Nazis didn't, like, whatever was left of the Nazis, they didn't have a state, you know, they didn't have the resources of a state to forge documents like this. Now, it might have just been idiots who've been like, looks good, let him go.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
But apparently the paperwork was like, it checked out.
Who would want
These people
him
did
there?
invent the printing press, though, Aaron.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Yes, they did. And then they perfected it with the Heidelberg press.
Yeah. So I guess the question is, who would want him out of the prison then?
That's a great question. Himself.
Right, sure. But
Other Nazis.
he doesn't have that. Yeah.
And any state-run intelligence service would probably see him as a valuable asset.
Sure.
That's the reason why he surrendered in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that for optics, for a guy who was coined the most dangerous man in Europe, he was a celebrity. He had the scar. He was tall. He looked the part. I think it would have been a bad look for them to let him go, or to Werner von Braun, like Operation Paperclip him.
Yeah.
So I think that if it is true that the CIA did it, it would be to use him as an asset. So this is in 48. The next time he is identified, he's in Paris in 1950, just walking around.
No way.
Living a public life in Paris.
Oh my God.
Should we take a break? He gets out of jail. He's in Paris.
Let's take a break.
That's a good place.
Be right back, folks. And we're back.
We're back.
Hi.
Talking about Otto Skorzeny,
Mhm.
not Scorsese.
Nope.
No. Zany Otto.
Otto Scorsese is what I call the movies he's making.
Some of just a lot of various podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube videos.
Mm.
Otto Skorzeny, The Devil's Disciple by Stuart Smith.
Mm. Is your sources?
Also his memoirs, My Commando Operations. Written his own memoirs.
Oh,
Some of them you gotta
God.
take with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
That's where I got a lot of this shit.
Okay.
Hearsay.
Mm-hmm.
Also later on, I forgot the
Rumor.
A couple
Yeah,
of
that'd be a good
I'll get
podcast,
the
Hearsay.
a couple of Israeli journalists also with some of the later stuff. They broke some pretty hard hitting facts as of late, and I'll get those names at the end.
Okay. Very exciting. So he's been broken out.
He's been broken out. He's living as
Living
a
France.
free man in Paris.
Mhm.
As a journalist,
Wild.
author, but all of his funds are still tied up because he hasn't been denazified yet.
Mm.
And so he Paris 1950. In 51, he actually, why this might be while he's still in Paris. No, but okay. So 51, he moves to Spain,
Okay.
Mm.
and this is
Franco time.
yeah, Franco time,
Mm.
and Franco was very, very sympathetic, as we'll say, to
Oh yeah.
former Nazis,
Mm.
and they had a nice relationship. He was actually pretty
Oh.
tight. He was under the protection of Francisco Franco. Actually, maybe served as an advisor to him. Maybe did some business dealings with Krupp, former Nazi industry magnate.
Oh.
Krupp.
Krupp, yeah, steel.
Double P.
Yeah, Double P. I think later known for the coffee maker. I don't know. But made some money there, doing some
Coffee deals.
yeah.
Mm.
Living in Madrid. At this point, he is still a Nazi. Like he still believes it. He still doesn't think it's over.
Sorry, not sorry.
They didn't put him through the training.
He starts putting together something that in some places it's called the Rat Line or the Spider, which is offering aid to Nazi war criminals on the lam to get them to Switzerland, Spain, and Argentina.
Oh.
Whoa.
Jesus Christ.
He helped hundreds of former SS members evade justice by getting them to neutral or formerly neutral countries and then getting them to Argentina. So he was instrumental in the Boys of the Brazil shit.
Whoa.
He starts preparing his memoirs, which I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
He was still a celebrity, basically. Like, he was the reputation of Europe's most dangerous man. He published the memoir in 1957. One of Skorzeny's special missions, the autobiography of Hitler's commando Ace. When excerpts of this were published in Le Figaro in Paris, it started fucking riots in the streets.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The French gendarme versus like thousands of French communists.
Yeah.
They're going like,
And they were like, you know what? Fuck, these communists are the problem now. So it was just like, yeah, throwing fucking, rocks. and
What? I
stuff.
mean, can you describe what's going on here? Like the communists, you're saying, are freaking out.
Yeah, they're just like, what do you do? Like, you shouldn't be publishing this. This is the Cold War isn't really started, but like, there's this communism is still popular,
Well, yeah.
especially in France.
Right.
And this just was, pouring gas on a fire. Like,
Do you think it's not fucking insane though that like occupied France would let this guy just stomp around after they're liberated?
well, maybe they didn't know.
No, they did. He was a journalist. He was living openly.
Yeah, well, no one put it like that.
That's fucking wild.
I think that like your everyday person on the street isn't gonna recognize him, but people who know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's fucking Instagram or like
He's got the fucking face scar. How is that not a thing?
Oh, I got it from I was on the farm and like a horse with a knife.
Yeah, I fell.
He he'd basically been behaving, quote unquote. So in 1952, he was deemed denazified in absentia, and some of his funds were freed up, and he.
This just sounds to me a little bit like, I mean, not even like, if Franco is, letting that shit happen, it's kind of crazy that the West is just kind of like, okay, like it's in Europe, and he was, he didn't join with Hitler and Mussolini and stuff, so he, but like it's now like everybody that's won the war is kind of riding high. Like they really could have bullied fucking Franco and been like, what the fuck are you doing with this fucking animal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think everybody just had so much war fatigue that they were like,
well,
okay.
And the U.S. then moves on to fighting communism.
Yeah.
And then we
hire a bunch of Nazis.
Yeah.
We're building rockets.
And then it's Korea.
Yes.
And so the U.S.'s attentions go other places.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And, they're deemed, let Spain have them. Like, whatever, Also, maybe he was an asset, right? He...
Oh, you're saying like a CIA thing?
Yeah.
It is convenient.
He is... he has a stateless passport because he's a man without a state, but he does have a passport. And he wants to get into the UK. I don't know, because it's happening,
Yeah.
But he can't. So he buys a giant farm in County Kildare, Ireland.
No.
Where he figures that they would get him.
The British.
The Irish would get him.
Oh, they're the only people that sent condolences on Hitler's death.
Right. So,
you mean
not our finest moment?
Oh, you mean they wouldn't get him as like take him? They would understand him.
That was the Irish hatred of the British.
Yeah,
really goes to extra places. And so Eamon de Valera, who is American born, but the first prime minister of Ireland that reigned for a long time. Supposedly, some Nazis were, kind of like, oh, you guys hate the British, we
do too.
Yeah, we do too. But then on the other side, there was Irish neutrality was supposed to be kind of like covertly like wink, wink, because like they said that the Irish were like basically letting them use landing, areas and stuff like that for planes for Americans and British. So Ireland is like a super weird.
Yeah, there was actually plans to invade if the Allies were going to use Ireland. But it never materialized. But there were plans on definitely on the Nazi side to go into Ireland.
Yeah.
And set up shop. But the Allies never officially.
Well, they weren't. Ireland was not going to allow it because, I mean, first of all, what brought De Valera into power was the 1916 Rising, which was Ireland doing the classic thing of let's rebel while Britain is at war with Germany. So yeah, didn't work out well. But once they had the 26 county republic in the South, they were very much going to be like, we are certainly not going to be on any side with Britain. But covertly, apparently, especially because De Valera was American born, they were like, wink, wink, yes, you can land here and use, some stuff. But it was not official. They were totally officially neutral.
His plan doesn't really work out. Ireland never gives him a permanent visa. He can never stay there for more than 6 months at a time.
Yeah.
But he does have a huge fucking farm there that he does spend every minute of those 6 months that he can. And now he's making money now because he's tight with Franco and Perón. Like he's being able to kind of he's moving arms.
What about your boy in Portugal? Is he down with
Yes,
it? Yeah?
he is with Salazar.
Yeah.
He does do stuff with Salazar for sure.
That was the episode you did on him. He was the more Catholic dictator.
Yes.
This is a Patreon episode?
I don't know if it might have been a Patreon, but very interesting fellow. As he was Salazar, as he was convalescing, his inner circle printed up fake newspapers so we wouldn't get wise to the shit going on.
Yeah.
He's making money, so he buys this giant farm. Just being like parking his car on other people's property and shit.
Not cool.
Just being a dick. But
I don't like that Nazi fella now. I don't
know why.
But Jesus Christ, didn't he park his fucking Daimler Benz all across?
Leaving the tire marks all over my grass.
Yeah.
My Kerrygold cows can't fucking graze for the wonderful butter. He starts visiting Argentina a lot.
Oh.
It's very tight with Juan Perón. Served in as advisor to
Christ.
Perón, bodyguard to Evita.
No fucking way.
Might have had an affair with her.
Oh.
I mean, if it's Madonna.
For clarity, Aaron is referencing the Danny DeVito sketch where Danny DeVito plays Al Goldstein and says, "Oh, in this picture you can see everything. Madonna, she's bent over a tree. Oh, Madonna,
over a mirror.
you are such a hooah."
Al Goldstein also a profile.
Yeah.
This guy touches every corner of our life.
Really,
he
it's
does.
amazing.
Became an so he's an advisor to all these guys: Franco, Salazar, Perón, including Egypt.
Nasser?
Yes, he starts helping former Nazi rocket scientists hook up with Nasser, who overthrew the prior the monarch there, I believe. And so they're developing rockets with the capability to threaten Israel. He trained units that help capture the Suez Canal
Good God.
from the British.
Christ. He's like the Da Vinci of terrible ideas.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know if Da Vinci's helicopter worked very well. He had a large role in the neo-Nazi movement in Europe. He set up the Spanish neo-Nazi, neo-fascist group Ciudad in 1966. He was one of the original founding members of that.
Holy fuck.
I mean, I don't
shit.
know. I don't think Ireland should take a lot of blame for this, but maybe if he had stayed on the farm
Yeah,
for
maybe
years,
if they gave him the fucking visa, he wouldn't be all around Europe stirring up shit. You think of that?
Yeah.
You ever think about that?
Well, I mean, the British, royal family are all Germans anyway, so they're probably going like, you know what, feck him. Feck the fella. Feck him.
1970, he forms the Paladin Group in Spain, a neo-Nazi paramilitary group. Mercenaries were made available to right-wing governments around the world who needed plausible deniability for non-state affiliated acts of violence.
So some Nazis flew in last week.
Yeah, so this is where
And
he
did
got
weird
in with
stuff.
Salazar in Portugal
Jesus
and
Christ, man.
Arab jihadists.
Jesus Christ.
For real?
Yeah, dude. Fucking son of a bitch.
God.
Officially deemed denazified.
Yeah. By who?
The
West.
The West. Germany. The West Germany.
Wait,
Yeah.
but so who deemed? Because he broke out of jail. He didn't go through the
No, he did not.
He was
denazification.
denazified in absentia.
I don't.
In absentia.
That's
Yeah.
not.
He did go through
you can't
some
pass a class
denazification, but he
if you're
never
not there.
completed the curriculum.
He didn't do the gen ed.
I think if he started
He's a
the,
few credits shy,
Yeah.
but they grandfathered
Yeah.
him in. They-
Yeah.
I think if he
Celebrity.
started the neo-Nazi movement, he was not denazified.
No, I don't think it
He's
worked.
like, well, I'm not neo-Nazified.
They gave him one of those. It's like the celebrity diploma. You know?
Yeah, they gave him the honorary doctorate they gave to Cosby.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
What the fuck, man?
I mean, the thing is, though, is that, like, in Europe, it is not too crazy because those movements do resurge
Oh, yeah.
periodically.
Mhm.
There's a huge march in Germany this past weekend, an anti-Nazi march.
Yeah.
And even some of the sports stadiums were putting like rainbow colors up in support of the anti-Nazi march.
Yes.
If only they knew that all the Nazis were gay.
Well, so that was the thing. I told you about that that one place I played. By the way, when I toured in my band, we went to Austria, which is, I mean, just so enchanting.
It's beautiful. It's incredible.
It's
the Austrian Tyrol.
It is
Sound of
like
music.
it's
Picturesque.
fake. You're like, it must be fake.
Yeah.
It's so fucking.
You can say that up the Croatia's that way too.
Wyoming.
Take away from Austria, but I was just looking at some stuff from Croatia when I was looking up the Tito stuff.
But I think I told you this place we played in, and the punk scene, of course, is in that
picturesque.
Well, they're so hyper aware of the Nazi stuff that they are like almost absurdly pro-Israel.
Yeah.
And that is weird. And I had a lot of debates with people over that. But there was a guy shortly before there that got very good results in the polls, and was straight up the child of an SS couple, and he was drunk driving down a mountain from a gay bar.
Yes, you
and smashed his car into smithereens, and they had a gigantic blow up of the car wreck. And it said "Follow your leaders" under it, and it was like, holy shit!
That's amazing.
Yeah, my first what would I say? The first time I was really exposed to punk shit was this dude in junior high who I thought was an asshole because he dressed like an asshole.
Yeah,
patches and weird jeans, and his hair was all fucking weird. And I was like, and he had this little like little patch that he had safety pinned to his jacket, and it had a picture of Hitler on. I was like, what the fuck is this guy fucking Nazi? And it was a picture of Hitler blowing his brains out, and it said "Follow your leader."
Yes.
When I realized that, I was like, all right, you're cool.
Yeah.
Bold stance, being anti-Hitler, nice. Very popular.
Yeah. But like, so in the Germany part of it, like, I was like, they would point out to us, they would show us around. They'd be like, all right, this place here, and it would be like a kind of place where like you got to get buzzed up sort of thing. Yeah. It was they were like so that's like a place that does like Nazi stuff, but like they use more and more obscure imagery, so it's not so evident.
Right.
You know what I mean? They get more probably in that faith, family, folk type thing.
Yeah. They throw like Thor's hammer up and shit like that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's that line we were talking about in the Patreon from the Barbie movie. We do patriarchy. We just
hide it better. Yeah, exactly. Because people there were just still straight up street fight.
Yeah.
And it's weird too because like in the places we played that were formerly East Germany, far more Nazis there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I imagine it's more traumatized. Strongman stuff stayed in power.
When you squelch something down, it has a tendency to pop up.
And also, it's like that thing too, where like like one of the great things I love about 1984 is that it does take this thing where it's like the regime they show is like the strongest things of Stalinism and Hitler.
Yes.
And they meld them.
Yes.
So if you're in East Germany, like we talked about like that thing of like 3 out of 4 people were informers.
Yeah, on their own family.
Fucking insanity. So you're still living under
a fascist regime.
Authoritarian. Yeah.
So at this point now, he's working with Egypt, Portugal, Spain,
fucking crazy.
Everyone. He's created a mercenary group of
And there's no like SAS. There's no like buddy out to kill like
right.
Like
they're busy.
Yeah. Suppose.
Now it's the Cold War.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Israelis had made it a point to stop the Egyptians from advancing their rocket program that he actually that Skorzeny had probably had a little bit of a part in. And they were threatening scientists, plotting assassination attempts, and they considered killing Skorzeny. But instead, according to journalists Dan Raviv and Yossi Melman, they had a different approach.
Suck him off until he dies.
I guess at this point they are the Mossad. The Mossad has been created.
Yeah.
So Skorzeny and his wife are at a bar in Madrid, and they meet a couple, and they're having a good old time. They're flirting with each other. They're getting wasted, and Skorzeny invites them up to their villa. And Skorzeny pulls a gun on them and goes, "I know who you are, why you are here. You are Mossad, and you've come to kill me."
Whoa.
And they go, "If we had come to kill you, you would have been dead weeks ago."
And so they sucked him off.
They were Mossad agents sent by Israel
To co-opt him?
to recruit him.
Jesus Christ.
And they go, "You're tight with the Egyptians. They've got a bunch of Nazi rocket scientists there.
What?
All these Arab states are pointing their
No.
shit at us."
What year are we at here?
This is 59, 60, 61. 61, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Okay, I don't want," he says, "I don't want any money, but if you will tell Simon Wiesenthal to get me off his kill list." So Simon Wiesenthal is the famous Nazi hunter after the war.
Okay.
For years after the war, this guy was the guy going around the globe tracking down former Nazis and killing them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he was up at the top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
So,
By the way, I have been looking into the Armenian version of that, which is Operation Nemesis.
oh, what a great name.
And yeah, they have
Hunt down Turks.
Yeah, hunting them,
Mm.
yeah. People, they were like the architects of the Armenian genocide.
Dude, the Nazi hunter shit is fucking so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we should we could do a pincer movement on it.
We could do a pincer movement.
Yeah.
So,
Aaron, I'm sorry, but would you turn that light a little bit? It's turning you into the Terminator with the eye glow. Great.
Judge.
So he says, just I kind of want a book deal, and
I want a book deal.
and
I want to go on
I want to
Oprah?
get off Simon Wiesenthal's list. And they're like, "Yeah, no problem."
Sure.
Hey, no problem.
They send the request to Wiesenthal. He says, "Fuck no." But the Mossad forged a document saying that he had been removed from the list and gave it to him.
Mm-hmm.
He was brought to Israel, met the head of Mossad, Mr. Harel. He was sent to Cairo, where he scoped shit out and just took names of all the German scientists working there. Got their addresses, all the names of the front companies in Europe that were procuring supplies and shipping components to Egypt for their rocket projects. He one trip to Cairo, he mailed exploding packages, which killed 5 Egyptians where German scientists were working. So now he's creating. Now he's got another terror campaign where it's like all the Germans working for Egypt are super they know that they got a target on their back.
Oh, okay.
So in September 11th, never forget, 1962, Heinz Krug, who was a German rocket scientist who was an associate of Werner von Braun,
Mm-hmm.
who's working for the Egyptians, he calls Skorzeny.
No.
Yes. And says, "Dude, I think the Mossad is after me. Like, you're the most dangerous man in Europe. I need your help." And he goes, "All right, I'm in Spain right now. Meet me in Munich." Krug meets Skorzeny in Munich. They have a couple beers. He drives him out into the forest outside the city
Oh no.
and puts a bullet in him.
Wow.
And then
What?
dips his body in acid.
Whoa.
His body has never been found.
Holy shit. That's fucking crazy. What the fuck? Here we are in Bavaria.
Oh, isn't it beautiful? Look over there. Out. Bang!
Just like old times.
If only we had some Jews around. Bang.
It really is like the actual Red Skull.
Yeah, I mean, you never get rid of him.
So I was telling you about the new Avengers thing, Avengers Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the thing is like they're like in this future revisionist thing, when heroes are defeated, they say Captain America he's old and he's depowered, and he's brought on some TV show where they're going like, well, people are saying that the Red Skull actually was fighting Hitler, and he goes,
They
yeah,
had a lot of good ideas.
and they're going like, yeah, but he's like he was fighting Hitler because he wanted to take over all the shit himself.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
he was
mean?
fighting Hitler because he wanted to do more.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, this guy is actually that.
He kept the party going. But like I said, it is
When you mean the party, you mean
the Nazi party.
Yeah.
I mean, not really.
But toward the, I mean, he
'cause
really
now he's
the
killing
party was the
Nazis.
Skorzeny party.
Yes.
I'm doing
Yeah, the
whatever.
Skorzeny party,
like,
yeah.
It's the Red Skull party.
Yeah, like it's me, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
He doesn't care about sides. He cares about
and he
himself.
knows that the Mossad would have got to him,
Yes.
and they did get to him, but they saw.
and now he's curried favor with them by doing this assassination, right?
Yes.
So that is a good look for him, survival wise,
Yes.
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. But you know, he's getting up there in age.
Now he also you could imagine be milked for all of the information about everybody that went to Argentina.
Yes,
Mhm.
you could.
Is he keeping notes? Does he?
He wasn't one for paperwork.
Ah,
shockingly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only tired.
From the beginning, he was like, "Man, that's fucking paperwork, man. I'm here to just fucking kick ass and
Yeah.
make names, and
Yeah.
forget the names."
Fuck the names.
Some internet sleuths did some Freedom of Information Act requests, and they also found some declassified CIA documents that showed that the head of the CIA, Alan Dulles, had apparently approved a plan concocted by Skorzeny to kidnap Fidel Castro.
Of course.
Made
they
it to
did.
Kennedy. Kennedy vetoes it.
Yeah.
It was all about sucking his dick, and then you just drag him onto
Suck
the
his
boat
dick to death.
You drag him onto the boat with your mouth.
Yeah. And you drown him and come.
Yeah.
It's
And he's
over.
going, I don't want him staying here in the White House.
I don't know about this guy.
Fidel Castro. If I'm caught with Castro in the White House, I'm finished in November.
In 1970, he is diagnosed with cancer, spinal.
Oh.
Oh, God.
And they said, you've had cancer your whole life.
No.
You are the cancer.
Yeah, you are the cancer. But he has a very invasive surgery to remove the tumor. They say you're never going to walk again.
Very smart.
He walks again.
Oh, wow.
But he is temporarily paralyzed. The cancer then spreads to his lungs. In July 5th, 1975,
God damn it!
Otto Skorzeny dies of cancer in Madrid. He has a funeral in a chapel, full Catholic funeral in Madrid, attended
the Pope is there.
by many former Nazis who gave the Nazi salute at the funeral.
Get the fuck out.
Then they're not former Nazis.
His remains are cremated,
fuck?
sent to the family plot in Vienna.
Oh, good.
There is a second ceremony held in Vienna, attended by former SS and neo-Nazis, with Austrian plainclothes police there observing.
Yeah, taking names.
And there is one gentleman there who did not give the Nazi salute, just observing in silent observance.
To make sure he was dead.
And to give some respect, and that is one of the Mossad agents.
No way.
Who was involved in his assassination of Krug.
You know, we did actually have a foursome, and he was pretty fun that night, you know, and so I'm here to recognize that.
Dude, what a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
And so they didn't kill him,
No.
which is,
God did.
but that's so insane.
God took his sweet-ass time.
Yeah, let him fucking run amok.
What the fuck, man? Like, he became the guy that like each each dictator was like calling, "Hey, is there
You got a guy?
Is there a guy isn't there someone you know who could do terrible things for me?"
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh,
You
yeah,
gotta know somebody,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or this Rolodex."
I mean, so like in terms of Operation Paperclip and stuff like that, we go like, all right, the obvious ones that like Word von Braun.
And it's also let's not let the Soviets get them.
Yes.
And they got their own guys, but
Sure.
in this very cruel and hyper logical, but morally bankrupt calculus.
yeah.
It is they've got all this science and we can't let it go to waste, and we can't let the other guys get it.
Right.
Yeah, but the commando shit too would be the kind of thing that you would be like, oh, I could see the CIA wanting to paperclip that shit.
Yeah.
Where they're going like, all right, well, this guy was, on some rogue warfare type stuff.
So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And continued.
Yeah, there also was some other CIA documents that got declassified that showed that as early as 42, he may have already been approached and, for the lack of a better term, turned by the NKVD of the Soviet intelligence service. May have been using him as a spy in Hitler's inner circle. It's just a few missives in some paperwork from the CIA.
Yeah, and it does seem like with this guy, you assume he's always looking out for himself, and so it's hard to not believe that he wasn't associated with all these
it's a great thing when you are an intelligence apparatus to find the think for yourselfers, because you can appeal to their survival instincts.
Right.
Hey, listen, man, I don't care what you did in the war.
Yeah.
We just want you to kill this other guy because we'll kill you if you don't, and we'll set you up. Like it's the enemy of my enemy. So, that these guys don't have true state allegiance.
Yeah.
They're just allegiance to themselves. And if you can appeal to that,
It's a very interesting
ace in the hole.
Difference there too, because you go like, all right, well, that is the think for yourself, but like in that other way, Rommel is the guy that is actually like thinking for Germany more than even Hitler is.
Yeah.
He is not thinking for himself at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, so he kind of dies more of a hero because of that. But, like...
Yeah, this guy's not a hero.
This guy... But also, like... he's just got that thing of, if you got the balls to do it. And that is, like... Definitely, a thing where, like... You're saying, like, the commando stuff and, SEAL Team 6 and all that sort of shit is kind of based on that. Like, what if you just had, like, 12 really crazy dudes?
Yeah. They also didn't have Twitter back then where the FBI could post a picture saying, do you know who this guy is?
Right.
And it's just a 6'4" German guy with a giant scar and the whole world can see it.
Yeah. Right. And, like people, like, in the CIA, too, like, are the kind of types of people that are going to believe in absolute power anyway.
Yes.
So they're very much going to be like, oh, yeah, he's a Nazi guy. Remember the Nazis?
Remember those guys?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Those guys are wild.
Anyways, so we hired him.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wife?
Couple
wives.
Yeah, a couple wives, then a girlfriend. There were some rumors that his girlfriend at the time had already been co-opted by other intelligence services. She may have been having an affair with one of the Mossad guys at the time, doing some coke, stuff like that. But that's all. I couldn't get too many official sources on that. But he was also called the most infiltrated man in Europe too, because like everybody he knew was in some intelligence service.
It's almost like the more intelligence services he works with, it actually offers him more protection because one of them will come to him and
you're simultaneously more exposed and more protected.
Yeah.
You're basically just a resource for them.
Yeah.
And if you're in demand, you have some protection there, but you do have guns pointed at you at the same time. So it is a catch-22.
Yeah.
But also, like, so there's the thing, you know, like, you're like, all right, let's say he believes in the Nazi thing to the point where he's ready to help people escape to Argentina. But then once they're there, like, what are they doing that's of use to him? So if Simon Wiesenthal is going like, I will not shoot you, I would be like, I would bet that guy is going like, here's this guy in Argentina.
Well, Simon Wiesenthal didn't say that he wouldn't shoot him.
Right.
They forged the Mossad forged documents to convince him that Wiesenthal
But
wouldn't.
he didn't get shot.
No, he didn't.
So
Mossad kept it from Wiesenthal.
Yeah. I would also bet, though, that he probably, to escape, that must have been feeding more information about other stuff. Because it's a long time to live after the Second World War, man.
It is.
It's a long time to live. And I can also understand how, like, some of that Mossad stuff, like being at the funeral, is insanity.
Yeah.
Maybe you can be like, it's the guy going like, I'm going to kill this motherfucker.
Yeah.
whoever
Drawing
should.
faces.
Yeah. He's doing a court sketch.
But if there is respect there, it is like part of that thing we talked about was like the, you know, the PTSD of the state of Israel being like, you identify more with your abuser,
and you repeat the same patterns. But
Right.
also, like, you know, for the Mossad, I'm not going to speak for the Mossad, but
Thank you.
you know, there is I can focus on revenge for shit that happened, or I can get this bad guy who did all this bad stuff to my people
to help me out with new threats.
help me out with new threat. Like,
New threats.
he's not
right.
killing any more Jews,
Yeah.
but these rockets in Egypt are going to potentially kill thousands.
Right.
So I'll have him kill one of his old buddies and, you know, put the kibosh on
Right.
that program for the time being.
Enemy
So
of my enemy.
It's a cruel, like I said, a cruel calculus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Wait, so how did you hear about this guy?
Well, you mentioned
Most dangerous
some of
man in
this,
Europe.
with the Joseph Tito,
Yeah.
and my brother listened to the episode, and he was like, "Yo, that most dangerous man in Europe, look into him."
Oh, for real.
Very
and,
cool.
And then I did. He gave me
Way to
he
go,
gave me some notes.
Andrew.
Thank you,
Yes,
Andrew.
thank you to my brother Andrew, and thank you to the internet.
Yeah. Internet also a Nazi scheme.
Yeah, dude.
Mm.
Because, you know, they'd be like, oh, if you like, you know, seeing old Roseanne Barr clips, you might be into white power.
Yeah, and plus these ugly gills are desperate.
And they're in your
It's
area.
the reverse the breeding program.
Yeah,
They're trying
that's
to
right.
fuck up the whole gene pool.
Yeah, there's some uggos in your area.
So that is Otto Skorzeny.
What was your takeaway?
My takeaway is that there's a lot more of these guys.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Like, what the fuck is that guy just like ending his day like just being like, I don't know, man. I just want shit to be crazy all the time. Kind of, right?
yeah, I think you can get addicted to the juice and the action, and like, dude, war is fucking hell, and it's hyper stimulating, and then when it's over and you're still not done with it.
Yeah. That is a very interesting thing to me because, like I told you,
It's like Frank Castle, like, my war is not over.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
do with the rest of your life when that's all you've known?
well, those guys, you know,
And
like,
what are your skill? He's not gonna go work as an engineer for the fucking Army Corps engineer. Like,
No.
he built his ramp already.
No,
he
he's
made his ramp.
He's a murder engineer.
Now it's like, all right,
built
I
his-
got to leverage. I made all these connections of what I thought was going to be a 1,000-year right.
Yeah.
mhm.
And also, I mean, you, like I was saying, it probably is partially a survival skill too of
It
going
has
like,
to be.
I know people are coming for me, so I will become partners with all of these various.
Make yourself indispensable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was truly indispensable, but he was useful.
Yeah.
And so he was in those the last moments of the war before he surrendered. He did have the right idea, which was, I'm high up, I'm valuable, I know a lot of shit, I know a lot of people. Maybe if I surrender, they'll find a way to use me.
Yeah.
And everyone did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is that thing too where you're just going like, it's not even about a flag or about an ideology. It's just about power.
I have seen the future, Captain Rogers, and there are no flags.
Yeah.
Honey boo boo.
Not my future.
Yeah. It really, but it is that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, Because then it's like everybody's so paranoid. They're going like, all right, well, who's gonna get the fucking nuke and whatever.
Right.
Tesseract.
And
The start.
and like I mean, still trying to fly the flag of SS people.
Yeah, it's a bad look.
Via Franco. I can't even believe it was allowed. You know what I mean?
You mean fascism wasn't over, like just because the Nazis,
Yeah, exactly.
the Nazis lost, but fascism had a
Remains.
run, and it still remained. Like, yeah, like he still believed in that.
Mm-hmm.
And the remaining Nazis were just, the guys he knew.
Yeah.
Who still believed in it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sure he did find he did start another another fascist regime or paramilitary groups and political groups in Spain. And I think he accepted all types of fascists, not just former Nazis or neo-Nazis, just any fascists of all stripe.
Yeah, lame ones.
Yeah, it is. It's a strongman thing.
Exactly. And some people, like, it, fascism is a dirty word now. But it wasn't when it was popular.
No, not at all.
And neither was communism. Like, those were just alternative political ideologies that people were trying out and considering. Like, now you say you're a fascist, it's derogatory. But, like, some people that, there was a school of political thought that was like, this is an efficient way to run an empire.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what empires were for most of history. Right?
Yeah, the monarchies inherently.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, if it's like, the 20s, even in the States, they could be, and like we said, like, Vienna, like, all those people that were, like, going there then, it was like, that was, like, the burgeoning of a lot of those ideas that were...
We're going to get gacked up on coffee and cocaine.
Yeah.
And talk about, capital.
But, yeah, I
Cool.
mean, I have to think that this guy must have had more horses to trade to live into the 70s.
Yeah, and it's also like,
But also,
it's
like-
easy to disappear, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nobody has cameras.
And at the same time, he probably, here and there, he needs money.
Yeah, he made a lot of money through Spain and Argentina once some of his funds got freed up, but also
Do you know what he was doing? Like, what was the business he was doing with Franco?
Ramps.
arms and steel. He was getting steel from Krupp. I believe it was steel.
No shit.
Yeah, steel, and then I'm sure I think he was doing arms dealing and getting German steel to Argentina.
It's so fucking wild, man. It is so wild. And I think a lot of it is like, kind of like you were saying, like it was just the threat was so superseded by Stalin, And
there were a lot of people that thought the Korean War was going to turn into World War III.
Right, yeah.
And so with that huge distraction, he was able to continue operating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think some people like
He lived through Vietnam.
Yeah. And so there's a whole nother distraction.
It's a whole
too.
other distraction.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit about Nazis.
Well, it's like
Charlie's in the trees.
Yeah. I mean, America's so
Bring your A game.
You and me, Otto, we bled the same blood in the same mud. I may be an Israeli Mossad agent, and you may be a dirty German Nazi, but we've got Friday Night in Flint.
Yes, Charlie there, please.
Is he in the trees, perhaps? Hope he brings his A game.
Yeah, that was sick, man.
Tight, right?
Yeah.
That was really good.
Thank you.
That was really good.
Very nice, Aaron. Very nice.
I don't agree with the ideology, which you do. But I was really entertained by the story.
Yeah,
the
well, that's all it
story.
takes. Planted a seed. I think you might see things my way.
No, you like the Ireland part.
I might find myself in the Schwarzwald.
Ooh.
Oh,
Hi.
Dude,
Crazy,
yeah.
right? Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Just everywhere, doing everything. Just, how do you sleep at night?
And but like the true rogue in that thing, and like the thing of like being among like a pack of wolves and still being like, I'll tell you what, if I don't like my tires, I'll put a gun to my boss's head. You're like, what the fuck did you say, you psycho? You know,
Yeah, I mean,
this is supposed to be a thing
crazy.
about order.
For most
And
people, that would be the
discipline.
most crazy thing that ever happened to them in their lives.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is a footnote.
for the guy he put the gun to the head, it might have been.
Yeah, footnote. Footnote in his life.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't even need to mention it.
No,
No,
For most people, it'd be the fucking apex of chaos and excitement.
I'm glad you mentioned it because
Yeah.
it also, even when he's not doing those other things,
yeah,
the crazy remains.
yeah. Imagine it being like,
Gets the wrong order
He
at a
goes-
coffee shop.
Dear Hitler,
Hi, Hitler.
I'm actually now working for the Jewish homeland. Crazy, right?
Look at us. Look at us.
Think we'd ever end up here?
You.
Time moves fast.
You, both in the brain or perhaps in Argentina.
Yeah.
Me, working with the Jews.
Mussolini.
Remember
He's
that
next to
one
me.
guy? I
love
put him in an acid bath.
You knew him.
Yeah.
Also, where do you find an acid bath?
Oh, the Nazis? Come
Yeah,
on.
Come on.
They got those. Every house is
I
outfitted.
think it comes
Yeah.
out of the tap in Egypt.
Yeah.
Actually, he did it in Munich. But yeah, dipped him in acid and all that shit.
How the fuck do you get away with that too in like American occupied fucking?
He was in the forest.
John, it's a
It's a
really
Schwarzwald.
it's a dark forest. Except for the acid, it was just bright.
God damn, man.
Yeah, I don't think it was like Joker green acid, dude.
There's like,
When
oh,
did they
there's
get
a
a load of
spotlight.
me?
You're my number one. I got Hans. Bang, dip.
So also, this is a small thing, but I'm wondering. So then, does that mean after we win that the fucking
The
Allies?
Nazis didn't win, John.
No.
Jesus Christ.
God damn you! After the Allies, Aaron, win, do they just find Mussolini in some German?
No,
chateau?
no,
Oh,
John,
he was hung
no.
upside down.
Mussolini was killed by Italians.
Yeah.
But he got to Germany. No, I know that, but I'm saying like, is that how he got back to Italy?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure, but
But
him
he
and his
was-
girlfriend were both publicly executed and dragged to the
Yeah, they really beat up on him after they voted for him every day of their lives. my friend he goes, one time my dad told me, he goes, we're Italian. He goes, we go on whoever's side is winning. Aaron, that was
Fantastic.
that was really good, and
I
thank
liked
you
it.
again to your brother Andrew.
Yes,
that was
thank you,
that was tight.
Yes, thank you, sir.
I loved that.
I'm glad you did. Matt?
I didn't like the man, but I love the story.
Great.
No,
Well, I love you telling the story.
Thanks.
no, I love watching you do it.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Riled up.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna say goodnight.
I would too.
My name is John Francis Fahey.
I'm Aaron Pita.
I'm Matt Brousseau.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Good night.